I've been continuing my plank challenge week by week. There have been admittedly a week or two, I think, that I've missed and didn't sort of realize that I missed doing my 10-minute plank challenge. And so I think I missed it last week, and I'm just gonna go right into, life happens and I don't need to make excuses. I'm gonna accept that I missed it for a reason, and here I am today showing up, and I decided to record this 10-minute plank hold, and I'm gonna offer it through my network here for you to utilize as I'm passing the challenge on. So usually when I do my plank challenge, I've got music playing in the background. I always find a moment in the studio here where I'm by myself and I can just give myself this 10 minutes to step into a challenge. And today it's going to be no music and me just talking to the screen, you, myself. So here we go. I'm going to check the time. 10-minute plank challenge. So I've been doing this for, let's see, let me just make sure I looked at the time correctly. Okay, there we go. Been doing this for, I think, like over a month now for sure. It's definitely been about 6 or 8 weeks, maybe 2 months. And as I've done this over time, my challenge in the 10-minute plank hold is to hold this position as long as I can. And here's what I've noticed the successes in this. First of all, when I do this and I'm able to encourage a group of people to join me, so much better. So much more enjoyable when you can grab a group of people and you all bust out a plank pose together, but you can talk each other through it. You can cheerlead yourself through it and others through it. And so that's my first awareness in this journey, is the power of community. And I think that is why I've been able to find a source of inspiration to be a yoga teacher for as long as I have. Since 2008, I've been teaching yoga at least, on average, it's been no less than 2 classes a week, maybe more like 3 classes a week for most of that timeline, which is like hard to wrap my mind around. 2008, 2018 was 10 years. So 19, 20, 21, 22, wow, almost 15 years. Been practicing since I was pregnant with my son, who's almost 19. So the community part, like the power of community, I believe that we have yoga in ourselves and we have the capability to do yoga on our own. And that is a different form of expression. That is a different yoga practice. When I practice yoga by myself, I am truly aligning with my spirit. When I'm practicing yoga with a group of people, I am aligning with that community. I'm not trying to close myself off to the people around me. I'm trying to open myself up to those people. And so that's why I believe that there's power in both. That's why I'm dropping into this space semi-alone. I'm imagining many of you on the other side of the screen that I'm hopefully reaching out to and connecting with, especially as the minutes go on and the clock keeps ticking and this becomes more challenging. Here's another thing I learned. 5 minutes is harder than 10. It seems like the first few minutes of being in this posture is really challenging, because what I've learned is, see, now I'm gonna pivot. It's this mental space, right? Getting out of our heads and back into our hearts. And speaking about that a lot in my yoga classes. Man, we are so good at being in our heads. So I think the reason that this is hard in the beginning and gets easier the longer you go on, which might seem contrary, is because those first few minutes are spent getting out of your head, and that's work and that's heavy. The third thing I've been learning in this journey is the power of mind and body connection. I've been a big believer. We're really good at separating the head from the heart, and the body forgets to talk to the head and the head forgets to talk to the body, and yoga really does put that connection point back in. But sometimes, even in yoga, we separate the two. We become physical or we become mental, but there's space to be both. And I know the breath is the vehicle that bridges that gap between mind and body, breath. So I'm just gonna take a moment to probably stop talking here so I can really focus on my prana, my breathing. And I hope that if you're observing this, that you're joining and doing the work. Maybe you watch it first, but I want you to create your own experience. Let go of expectations. I'm going to do that here with my breath. There's a part of me that wants to look at the clock right now. And I'm going to challenge myself to go a little longer before I do that. So I need to give a shout out to where this originated. The first point of inspiration that I got to do this plank challenge came from an amazing human, Brad Ritter. I have fallen into this really unique opportunity. After leaving Aveda, I joined this collective group of people at a great organization called NGNG, No Guts, No Glory, yes. And where I really get to hone my marketing strategy, creative side that I've had with me my whole life. And we work a lot with authors, thought leaders, people who are trying to change the world. I believe everybody has a book in them. I believe everybody has a story. I've written a book. I've been writing my second book my whole life. And I know it's in me and it's going to come out when it's time. And everything connects. So I know that I'm here for this reason right now with this amazing opportunity. So thank you, Haley, for introducing me to this crew. And thank you to Amber, who created NGNG, her company, and brought us all together. And one of those thought leaders is Brad Ritter, who launched his book. And we had the opportunity to join his workshop after his book launched and learn some really cool concepts. Like, for me, they were all very yoga-based concepts. And before I knew it, he had us in plank pose, and 5 minutes turned into 10. And at that point, I was like, he's just gonna keep holding us in plank. But what was really cool is there was a group of us through Zoom connecting to each other, cheering each other on, telling stories, supporting, holding. I was shaking, I was sweating as I'm doing right now. And man, I was in my head the whole time. Self-doubt. When are we gonna be done? I don't think we need to be in here this long. The point is made, I get it, right? All the things that I was telling myself. So I couldn't really feel what I needed to feel. But then you kind of like reach this threshold where suddenly that resistance just softens. And you're like, I fucking rock, I'm doing this. So I had to step out early, I had dinner plans. So I left the group at about minute 11. And then I found out that they ended up holding it for 20-ish minutes. And I was like, well, dang, I haven't yet gotten to a 20-minute plank. But I've been really inspired to get into this 10-minute plank once a week. And I've been sprinkling it into some of my yoga classes. Those of you may have experienced it. And I think the longest that I've been able to get away with holding my students has been about 5. Which again is the hardest part, those first few minutes. So thank you, Brad, for your inspiration. And you guys should definitely check him out, Brad Ritter. Mental fitness is a thing. It is something we don't necessarily call mental fitness in yoga. Clarity of mind, intuition, intention. It's a lot of different words, but it's the same principle. And he's got a great workshop. You can join in. Again, a community setting, coaching, and physical connection too. So you've got both the mental and the physical workouts. Whew, hanging in there. So if you're joining me in this plank, I hope you're hanging in there too. I am teaching a class, so I just got to briefly look at the clock, and oh my gosh, it's almost that 10-minute mark. Wow. Okay, so I just have to say, being able to share my story out loud and vocalize really got me out of my head. I think that this is probably the fastest that this has ever gone for me. That's interesting. I had to fidget quite a bit, yeah. I'm gonna try to hold this peak pose right now and once again get back into my breath. Whew. Hang in there, come on. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Engage, be in. Don't pull yourself out, stay committed to you. Stay committed to your emotions, stay committed to your power, stay committed to your grace, stay committed to your awesomeness, stay committed to you being your most authentic, radical self. Because when you do, that's when everything's possible. That's when the world is right, when we're all being ourselves. Authentically, genuinely, leading with our heart center open, conquering and facing fear every single day of our lives, but getting better and more confident at it. Got this. Did it. Did it. Whew, I'm your tears. This happens a lot. I find when I get to that 10-minute point, there's just this huge emotional release, like a surrender of, for me, it's like surrendering that part of me that has been unkind or so hard on myself for so long. And I know that that person in me did it to protect me for a really long time. And there's a lot of fear left in her. And she's learning how to let go and trust that I got this now. You know, and then there's the other part of me, the now me, that's like kind of giggling like, well, hopefully you do, because you're like nearly halfway through your life probably. So you got a long way to go and you got here. And wow. Okay, that was a powerful session. Okay, I'm gonna leave you here. Namaste.